All right, you guys ready? I see it now. I see it. All right, you guys ready? All right, let me pull up all the scenes. This is so perfectly laid out. Oh, except it says Eric instead of. Okay, one more thing I have to fix. Hold on. Do you want me to do the voiceover explaining why the session isn't what we thought it was going to be about?
Hello, everybody. Welcome back. My name is Beth Johnson, and this is the CosmoQuest Hangout-a-Thon part billion T and two. Uh, it is a typical CosmoQuest event. We are full of audio issues. So thank you everybody for being incredibly patient. Uh, we were supposed to be doing a session on second chances for the Kepler mission, which would lead into the K2 mission. Unfortunately, the guest we had scheduled was unable to join us at the last minute, but this has meant that we were able to open up a session for one more meet the staff than we thought we would get to have, and that is that I get to talk to the real fake admin today. So I'm really excited. I know that we were concerned that you weren't going to have the time. You now have the time. We had someone back out, so everything came together, and now I get to talk to you.
Exactly.
So, admin, tell us a little bit about yourself. You are kind of our newest staff member, and I need some more information.
So I was just like Eric. I originally first was a viewer, then I became a volunteer. Uh, and just then Pamela PMs me one day, and is like, "Hey, want to work for me?" Which is leaving out a lot of things leading up to it, but like that's kind of what happens and what is the kind of series of events for a lot of people, I guess, in CosmoQuest is
It's
just
true.
Pamela's
I
reaching out.
I don't think there is a one of us that wasn't like a volunteer or a friend of Pamela's beforehand that then got pinged with, "Hey, I can pay you to do some stuff."
Yeah.
So
Um,
what is it that you do for us, admin, aside from admin like all of the streams?
I am a software developer. I technically my title is junior applications developer, but I believe my original thing I was brought on for was working on the Citizen Science Builder, which is like stated before what we use for Bennu. Like when we did Bennu mapping, that software. I did some rewrites. I am yet to go into the like main CSV software and like implement my changes. That is hopefully going to start next week. Then yeah, I work on Rocketbot, which is used in our Discord.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, that although I did not create it initially, I have kind of taken it over, and it's my baby now. And it allows me to just practice JavaScript, practice TypeScript, learning new skills like how to run a database and all that stuff. Like it's a good playground, but also it's useful. We could get weather, we could get uh like more weather. Hopefully in the future launches information, things like that. Um, yeah.
So
And also some
how did no, go ahead.
sometimes I also make little scripts. Like for the last hat, I made a palindrome script that allows me to just make text like that, which is 82 more dollars needed to reach $2,552 and 110 more bits needed to reach 8,338 bits.
That is actually kind of a bit of fun little coding. I like that. So that's a good script to have. How
Yeah.
did you let's start with how did you end up at CosmoQuest? How did you find the community? How did you become a part of it?
So I initially would watch almost every day another science streamer. Um, and that was in like I can't tell you the year, but probably it was pre 2020. And they kind of boosted how much I was into science and stuff.
Mhm.
I've always wanted to get into aerospace and things like that, or something in the science field, but like I never really went too far into it. I was mostly software person. But then the streamer kind of introduced me into CosmoQuest. I believe first I heard about Pamela through that streamer, and then later on I heard Pamela runs a thing called CosmoQuest. And then I checked out their streams. They've kind of absorbed me in, and now they pay me money to do cool things.
So you kind of have talked about like how you found the community and then, going from sort of a member of the community to being paid. Um, how did you become a programmer? What path did you take to get to that?
Oh, I mean, depending on where I start with the story. So I am bilingual. Trust me, there's a point to this. I speak English and Spanish. In school, I was in what's called an immersion program, which is
Mhm.
like all my schooling was half the classes in English, half the classes were in Spanish. Some years like math would be in English, others math would be in Spanish, things like that. And because of that, it technically counted as an elective, and so I never got to do STEM in any way during school.
Hmm.
Um, and so it was really just at home. Like first I started with like Bash script on Windows, and I would sometimes do Shell on Linux, and some Lua for some games, uh, and then JavaScript. And then I found Node.js, and now I can do server and client things all with the same language practically. And now I'm learning other languages. And it's just, it kind of was all just me. Like, I didn't have any formal training or anything.
Do you think that your bilingual ability also helped you understand how to code?
I don't know. I don't, I don't, I don't know. Um, yeah, I use like, I guess I should be on more forums of just also Spanish speaking ones because then I could get more information, maybe have better research. But like, yeah, I haven't really thought about that.
I ask because it's one of those things where if you've learned one foreign language, some of us have a tendency to learn more than one foreign language, and it becomes a passion. And computer programming is languages. So, sometimes the skills related to syntax and structure from one to the other translate somewhat. Um,
I guess, yeah.
so what are your goals with CosmoQuest? What are you hoping to leave behind? What are you hoping to work on?
Um, I don't really know if I care about like leaving my name in science or anything like that, but like I do kind of want to, in some way, even slightly, like assist science and stuff. Just like I want to help and help us learn and stuff. Like Bennu was really cool. but like now I'm like fully like I was a volunteer during Bennu, but like now I'm like actually able to like be an employee and actually do this stuff. Like, and it's cool.
What interests you about space science? I mean, you talked about you were interested in rockets, but you're also, it sounds like you've also come to the sort of the science and not just the engineering side of it. So what got your attention doing the science?
Uh Definitely that other streamer. They would talk about like everything astronomy and all that stuff, and it helped. I always loved science and math in school. I always would ask questions way more than others. Sometimes I'd repeat questions, but like it would be like yeah, it's always fascinated me, always like just I guess the unknown and all
Mhm.
that. Yeah, it's science is my life.
Is there anything you've learned since joining the CosmoQuest community that has sort of stood out for you
Uh I mean, in what sense?
as interesting, unusual, scary? Since Pamela's always talking about how the universe is trying to kill us.
I I mean, I've been here for over 3 years now, and so like I've learned a lot, like from Pamela, from others. Like it's so much to learn, so much more to learn. Uh, I yeah, I mean, I really liked from the last CosmoQuest-a-Con. Uh, one thing that stuck is that there are, I believe, is it stars that are rotating like more than one rotation per second, and just like I just that quick, something that massive. It's like in can't can't uh, I don't know.
Yeah, yeah. It's not something your brain can process very easily, is it?
Exactly.
there's
Yeah.
there's definitely a lot of that in space science where it boggles. It's just okay, can't. That's it. That's as far as I can think about it.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's sort of admin at work. What do you do at CosmoQuest? What do you do outside of CosmoQuest? We all have 6 or 7 hats that we wear. What are you doing outside of CosmoQuest?
Outside of CosmoQuest, I am mostly just working on hobby software projects, sometimes like Arduino, sometimes Raspberry Pi. I like I both like the physical like engineering and things while also liking the software, and so I like seeing where they kind of overlap with like the most basic of things, like just how to put a PCB, like how to design a PCB or a circuit board to like do what I want while also understanding code and but like turning that into like a physical thing. And it's cool. There's
I've definitely wanted to play with. I have an Arduino and I want to play with it, but at the same time, there's still this like learning curve fear for me. I may have to like try and pick your brain about what I can do with it. Thank you,
yeah,
Fenmil, for the bits, making sure that we
thank
get
you.
to that next palindrome there. Keeping the palindromes going.
Yep.
Um, so what else? So aside from computer programming, which sounds like that's just your passion and your job, which is always a great thing when you get to do them together. Uh, but
Yeah.
what are your hobbies outside of computer programming? Your bio says you dabbled in ham radio. How long did that last, and what was the interest there for you?
Uh, I I've looked at a lot of ham stuff. I have a cheap ham radio that I like listen to and stuff. I'm yet to actually get licensed. So like uh I'd love to. I was actually talking to Fenmil last night about like just ham radio and stuff. And it's really cool because like you get one thing I love is that you're just able to talk to people like literally on the other side of the world just using a radio. Like there are just waves that like are just able to like you're able to contact people in Australia, you're able like from the US and just it's so crazy.
Have you set it up completely? Have you used it? I mean, you're saying you're not licensed, so you're not giving out your code or anything, but have you gotten to talk to people from other countries?
No, I can't transmit. I can only receive right now.
And how far away have you received from, do you know?
I mean, uh I live in Florida right now. There's a really cool thing that I can't remember the acronym of, where basically the entirety of Florida is connected with what are called repeaters, which basically you transmit to a signal and then it retransmits with more power in another frequency, like a slightly different
Mhm.
frequency, so that you're able to listen and receive kind of at the same time, um, from longer distances than your handheld could just do. And so, like, during hurricanes, that gets like turned into like kind of an emergency system where like you're not just able to transmit just for fun, like it's more like for kind of checking if everyone's all right and things like that. And so it's really cool to listen to. And yeah, it's
A method of communication that isn't going to be impacted by a power outage, really. You can
yeah.
have all your battery backups and it will work, and so you can still keep track of what's going on.
Yeah, because you like hope that your local cell towers have generators with gasoline and the generators still work. Just a couple, just like last year, one of the first hurricanes I went through after moving here, uh, it seems like our local cell tower went down for some reason. And so we didn't have cell service for like a couple days,
Mm.
but I still had the ham radio. And so if our front yard was and our street was so flooded that we couldn't drive out of it. And so if something happened, I could have used it because yeah, it's just there and it's
That sounds very, very intelligent to have, especially under those circumstances. Having lived in Florida and gone through my own hurricane, I get it. And you want to be able to communicate. And I gotta say, the things we've learned about hurricanes since in the 30 plus years since I was in one have definitely changed what we would have done then, had we known some of the things that we know now. So
yeah.
very, very wise to have that capability. And thank you, Fenmil, for even more bits. We are now at 10,001. What a lovely palindrome that is. And Sully Two Cats has put his ham ID in there if you're interested. And Fenmil says the emergency stuff is called races for the repeaters and has included a link. So it looks like it's usraces.org. So if you're interested in looking and listening to some of these, it sounds like there's a way to do that. Um, you're in Florida. Was that by your choice, or was that a family choice, or how did you end up in Florida? Because honestly, you end up in Florida. You don't really choose.
I mean, yeah, it wasn't really my choice. Though I did have some like I was able to nudge either or direction because it was just it's moved from California to Florida for reasons. Uh and uh yeah, it was either here or a certain snowy state that does not start with I. um but yeah, it just moved here. I see
Oh,
rockets every day. It's really cool.
I mean, you're pretty close to the Space Coast, correct?
Yeah, a couple dozen miles.
And so how many have you formally attended any rocket launches, or is it just sort of like go find a spot, go outside, watch a rocket launch?
It's a bit of both. I have seen, I think, two or three actual launches, and they were all SpaceX because, of course, those are the best chance of seeing. But also, I attempted to watch the SLS launch, that is the Artemis missions. I attempted to watch it launch like two times, and if you know, it took a couple tries, and I wasn't there for the try that it did. Um, yeah, but I've seen Falcon Heavy with the return to launch site. So like the two boosters came back on land, and then I saw I think one or two other Falcon 9s.
And does that play into your desires for aerospace engineering? Has that helped increase your love for the occupation?
Oh, I love it.
Are you
Yeah,
gonna
it's
are you gonna help Eric? Are you gonna become the on-site aerospace correspondent?
maybe um at least for a little bit. I don't know. Maybe I'll do some media stuff at the actual space center. Who knows? Maybe. I don't know.
That would be cool.
But yeah, I do a lot of watch parties with like Keeper and also occasionally other people uh
Mhm.
actually on the CosmoQuest Twitch, and in the future probably co-streaming YouTube and Twitch. And so those are really fun. Those are always chaotic because they're always last minute. If not because they delayed it, uh then because like we don't have a lot of time beforehand to know that it's actually going to launch.
Mhm.
And so I have a setup that's very easy to put up and tear down, and my computer's always on, and so like I'm always ready.
So you're not going to tell me Eric said that one of the biggest challenges for him for streaming live for being on camera was getting the setup, but you're saying that for you the setup was probably the least challenging.
Kind of.
Kind
Uh,
of.
so one of my sisters is into photography, so she had like multiple, what are they called, light boxes or whatever. One of them I'm
Mhm.
using right now, which is way more than I need for just a simple stream. Like I just need a ring light or something, but it's cheaper to just use what I have than it is to get another ring light.
Mhm.
Um, and also like I didn't really, well, actually I never had on-screen experience. Like I used to stream on Twitch, but that was a faceless, nameless streamer. But then I just started showing my face. Just one day, Keeper was like, "Hey, you want to pop on, do a watch party? No one's awake right now." So I popped on, and now I'm addicted.
I'm glad there's another person on the East Coast because sometimes the launches for me are, 7, 5, 4 in the morning, and so it's very difficult to motivate. Um, I'm very much an evening launch kind of person. Please more launches in the evening. Um, so what was the transition for you from going from California to Florida? I've seen Ben Brainerd talk about going in the reverse direction and how suddenly, things like uh the difference in humidity is probably the biggest difference, right? Like living in Florida, you don't need moisturizer, the air does it for you. Living in California, you need lotion, like so much lotion to sort of like deal with the dryness, and it's not even like Arizona dry. So what were some of the challenges for you, like culturally or physically, changing from California to Florida?
Well, the weather's different. There's actually weather here. Though
It's
it's
true.
usually humid. Uh, though the last couple days have been cold relatively. Um, and so I actually got to get out my sweatpants and stuff, which is nice. But right now it's hot again, and so not running my fan because microphone, but it is, yeah, it's different. Back in California, it I lived there my whole life. I kind of acclimated to it my entire life. I Yeah, it's just there's weather here. That's the simplest way to put it.
I think Ben explains it as there are three types of rain. There's the 4 o'clock afternoon rain. There's the did I miss a hurricane and hurricane.
Yeah.
um, and that's very very true. I think Florida was the first place I ever experienced the whole driving through a water curtain and then coming to the other side and there's like it's like sunny and there's nothing and you just went through like a waterfall that came out of the sky.
Yeah. Uh, I personally never experienced that here, but I did experience that in Texas because I did used to travel every summer between uh, California and Florida via car.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, Texas has some crazy weather too. But yeah.
Yeah, it's true. I think one of the scariest drives I ever had was going from Oklahoma into Texas and trying to keep my soon to be roommate calm. She'd never seen a tumbleweed before, so first off, that terrified her. And we're in a 15-foot Penske truck with a car trailer, not a hitch, but a trailer on the back. And she's driving and lightning's flashing and it's dark and rainy and horrible and uh um there's tumbleweeds starting to come across the freeway and she like, oh my god, what do I do? And I'm like, just hit it, it's fine. So Texas definitely has had some of the wildest weather and I honestly, having done road trips between Florida and Colorado, I cannot imagine going all the way to California on in a car. Like that's immensely long. um so wow, points to you and your family for accomplishing that.
Yeah.
That is a lot of driving. You have experienced I-10 and I-40 a lot, haven't you?
Yeah, it's um it was always nice. I like the road. I have a good view on road trips now because of that experience. I'm able to kind of be on long road trips without kind of being tired and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And it's, yeah, there's a lot.
Okay, so we've talked about programming, we've talked about rockets, we've talked about sort of your living situation. Who is admin outside of CosmoQuest? Like what else do you do? What are your hobbies that aren't do you have hobbies that aren't coding? I just out of curiosity, or is this just such a big part of your life that for you it's as much fun as it is work?
I know it is dangerous to say that I like doing software dev stuff both on and off the clock, but it is a lot of that, but also I like actually doing things like physically. Like I like going outside. I'm thinking of starting a garden. I literally 2 days ago, I was fixing a deck. I'm still working on that, but like yeah, just like cutting wood, nailing, screwing, all that fun stuff. Uh, I Yeah, I just like doing things, which is I'd say it's odd for someone in my field to like going outside and doing things, but I do enjoy just going. I love, like I said, I love road trips. I love being a passenger in a car in somewhere I've never been, whether it be
Mm-hmm.
like in a town or like on a just road in middle of nowhere. I just like looking out the window, just like, oh, look at that tree. Oh, that's cool. Like it I I like outside stuff. I loved hiking back in California. I miss that. There's nowhere to hike here. It's all flat. And you go to a trail at a park and it's concrete. And so it's not. I like dirt. I want dirt. And the dirt here is wet. And so it's not fun to walk on.
uh
Yeah.
Wet and squishy and usually flooded.
Full of gators.
Full of it's true. Some stereotypes are there for a reason, and alligators in Florida is one of them.
I think I'm yet to see one after living here.
Really? Well, I'm my family like to take me to what was it? It was like an alligator sanctuary, an alligator park or something, and
They
it's
have
you
those.
yeah, and so it was one of those places where we went and you could see them, and so like it was just sort of a I think because none of us were Florida natives either, that there was just some things that were very fascinating to my family too. So yeah, I have seen alligators, but I was very young, and I'm not going to say that I remember the experience entirely. I think more of my memory is from pictures.
It
Thank
de-
you, good King Hadrian, for the Prime subscription. Thank you so much. Welcome in.
it
That is
definitely
Go
it
ahead.
definitely
Go
does
ahead.
help that my family also like isn't really outdoorsy. Like I'm more the outdoorsy type, and so I have no one to go with. Only when people coming town, and I'm just like, hey, you want to go on a hike? Uh, hike.
Is there so I mean, aside from the places that are concrete and muddy, is there any place nearby that's a decent hike?
I've never been there, but there is a place north of me that is like there's a lot of state parks in Florida.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so like there's a lot of land that is just nice and foresty and stuff with like turkeys and deer and snakes and gators. Uh, and so this place has like miles of trails and stuff, and I want to go there, but I'm yet to find someone to go with, if not just alone. But I feel like some people would have issues with me going alone to somewhere full of gators.
Maybe just a couple. Maybe just a couple. So what are your personal goals? What do you want to accomplish? What do you want to do? You're again, you're the newest on the team, and I believe at this point now the youngest. So, what's the future hold for you?
Uh, hopefully, if not just doing more science software, then like going more into like aerospace, maybe doing like some flight computer work and things like that. I used to think about more doing like the actual engineering side, which I still like the idea of, but like I feel like it would be more fitting for me to just do the flight computer things, whatever part that would be, whether it be on a satellite, communications, or just like the actual software or like simulating the flight before it happens. There's so many aspects that you don't even hear about because it's just fire rocket is cool, as opposed to like hearing the different stories of the different like positions at like different rocket companies and contractors and all that stuff. Like there's so much you don't hear about.
Mm-hmm. Do you want to bring some of those people to light? Would that be of an interest to you to sort of like interview them, talk to them on camera, have them tell people about what they do?
Yeah, if not just talking about the work myself, maybe getting people more interested in sharing, like
Mm-hmm.
maybe emailing a couple companies being like, hey, do some more PR about like what the work you do as opposed to like the successes you do, like talk about how it does, like how you have grants sent out to have thousands of people mark rocks and craters on a thing that we did not expect to have so many rocks. uh
So many rocks.
Yeah, so many rocks.
The entire CosmoQuest community is scarred for life by Bennu.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
So if we had all of the money we needed to do something, what would your ideal, would you just be coding in the background? Would you do interviews? What would you want to do with CosmoQuest if we could just afford to do it all?
Although I love doing watch parties, I am more of a background person. I like just staying in the shadows and typing my code and doing making the things that other people use. Like if other people use my software, that is the best. Like I love it.
So what you're saying is admin needs some community science projects to get going and
Exactly.
watch people use it.
Yeah.
Well, we've got about 5 minutes left. What is there, what do we not know about admin that you would be willing to share with the community? Like what's a story that you have that you would want to share? What have I not asked you about that you wish I had asked you about?
Hmm. Uh, I don't know. That covered a lot of bases. Uh, uh, I mean, my work, the work I love, just like Eric, I love what I do here, but it doesn't make the most money.
Mhm.
And so donations, donate. 501(c)(3) nonprofit. We do this for science. We do this for everyone. It's yeah, more money means more work for me, and I like the work.
And what does the CosmoQuest community mean to you?
I love it. So welcoming. Uh, the rules really make things go round. Just everyone's like just nice.
Mhm.
It's a good community to be around. Good community to spend weekends just on voice call while you're doing things around the house or something. Like it's great. Discord's great. Uh, join Discord. It's yeah, I love it. It's a great community.
Well, thank you, admin, for finding the time to do this, and I'm so glad that the opening came up in our schedule and that you were able to be here. What's next for you? What are you going to be working on, just like in this next week? I know you're doing a lot of stuff behind the scenes right now. Thank you so much. Your titles, when you see the titles change on the stream, that's admin making that happen. So thank you for doing that. I know you've been doing some coding for Rocketbot, and you've got a couple little projects going on, but what are you most looking forward to working on for the next week or two?
So I am gonna start working more on CSB, but I also have another more secretive project that hopefully will allow for better kind of interaction with chat, let's say, like good like questions getting answered,
Mhm.
a more streamlined thing for us in the background. uh,
Mhm.
yeah, there's some things, but then also CSB, Citizen Science Builder. It's what we're here for.
Well, fantastic. I think that's going to lead us into our next Minecraft intermission. We're going to take another look at that Mars base that we've been building. Admin, are you working on that at all?
Base, I'm working on a mine right now, so yes, I am.
Your diggy hole?
Yeah, getting some resources out of Mars.
Nice. What it's is there a difference in the Minecraft build at all, or is it just the same resources that you would be otherwise?
Well, I mean, Mars has like, doesn't it have like obsidian, maybe some water,
Mhm.
things like that, maybe other things we don't even know about. We're still exploring Mars.
Nice. I like it. I like it. All right. Well, everybody, thank you again to admin for being here, and of course to my producers Ali and Pamela in the background. We're gonna go take another look at our Minecraft base, and then I will be back at the top of the hour with Dr. Pamela. I get to interview her, and I'm really looking forward to this because I have not gotten to do it. So it's going to be fun to put her on the spot and ask her a bunch of questions. So come back and, well, don't go away. Watch the Minecraft, and then we're going to get to chat with Dr. Pamela and pick her brain and learn more about her. So
And
thank you,
don't forget to
everybody.
eat.
And don't forget to
Everyone in
eat, get
chat.
up. Yeah. Eat, drink water, get up, stretch, and keep throwing bits at us, and head for that hat link to make a monetary donation straight into our funds. We really do appreciate it. And admin and I are two of the people who work here and who would love to have more opportunities to do some things on the books rather than if we have time. So thank you everybody for your support, and I'll see you in 15 minutes.